Chapter 1, Miss Ashton, are you certain you want to erase all your identification information? Once done, you, as a person, will cease to exist. No one will be able to find you. Serafina Ashton hesitated for a moment, then nodded firmly. Yes, I want it so no one can find me. The person on the other end of the line sounded a little surprised but quickly replied, All right, Miss Ashton. The procedures should be completed within half a month. Please wait patiently. After hanging up, Serafina Ashton took out her phone and booked a flight to F country, departing in half a month. Meanwhile, the Apex Group's press conference was being replayed on television. A week ago, Sebastian Stone, CEO of Apex Group, had unveiled a piece of jewelry. Using the world's finest diamonds and gemstones, he had crafted a unique piece for his wife, naming it Eternal Summer. He named it after Serafina Ashton, proclaiming to the world that Sebastian Stone would forever admire Serafina Ashton. Once Eternal Summer was launched, it instantly dominated the trending topics on all major platforms, its popularity soaring. The entire internet was abuzz about their fairytale romance. After the press conference broadcast ended, the TV began showing reporters interviewing people on the street. Hello, sir. May I ask if you know about the fairytale romance between Mr. Stone and Mrs. Stone? A woman in a floral dress spoke with envy written all over her face. Who doesn't know about their love story? Mr. Stone even published a book before, filled with notes about Mrs. Stone. Just because Mrs. Stone loves cherries, he planted cherry trees all over their villa's garden. I asked my husband to learn from him, but he said he couldn't be that kind of man. It's true what they say, comparisons are odious. The reporter went on to ask several other people. A young female university student stood before the microphone, hands clasped to her chest, eyes sparkling. They're like a romance novel come to life, aren't they? Mr. Stone is a titan of true love 4 years ago, when Mrs. Stone had kidney failure and her life was hanging by a thread, urgently needing a transplant. Mr. Stone was frantic. When he found out he was a match, he ignored everyone's objections and went under the knife that very day to give Mrs. Stone his kidney. He said Mrs. Stone was his life, and if she were gone, he wouldn't want to live either. What an absolutely peerless good man. The reporter interviewed countless people, and every single one envied Sebastian Stone and Serafina Ashton's love. The news replayed several times, but Serafina Ashton just gave a self-deprecating tug at her lips. Ever since she was young, thanks to her looks, she had always had many suitors. But because her parents had divorced early, Serafina had never held out much hope for love. No matter who confessed to her, she rejected them all. Sorry, I'm not looking for a boyfriend, and I have no interest in romance. Until she met Sebastian Stone. Unlike the others, he relentlessly pursued her for 3 years. After facing her rejections time and time again, he only became more determined. He even participated in a death-defying street race, nearly losing his life, just to win her a necklace she liked. Only then did her heart finally waver. After they got together, his love didn't diminish in the slightest. Instead, he did everything in his power to be good to her, gradually softening her hardened heart. Even for the proposal, he asked a full 52 times before she finally stood firm, took a brave step, and agreed to marry him. On the day of the proposal, Serafina Ashton looked at the ring on her finger, tears welling in her eyes, and said to Sebastian Stone, Sebastian Stone, I will try my best to be your Mrs. Stone from now on. Through life and death, poverty or wealth, I will never betray you. There's just one thing you must remember. I will not accept any deception. If you lie to me, I will disappear from your world forever. Beautiful memories from the past were now shattered by a cruel reality, turning into illusions. 3 months ago, she discovered that Sebastian had been keeping a mistress for a long time. He spent his days with her and his nights with that other woman. His heart had long been divided between two people. It truly echoed the saying, how the one who burned brightest cooled first, while the one slow to warm couldn't stop smoldering. Serafina Ashton smiled bitterly, turned off the TV, then printed out the divorce agreement she had prepared long ago, signing her name stroke by stroke. Now, her words had become a prophecy. She would do as she said and disappear from his world forever after signing her name. She placed the divorce agreement in an exquisite gift box and wrapped it. An hour later, Sebastian Stone pushed open the door. Before he even had time to change his shoes, he hurried forward, hugging her and murmuring an apology. "I'm sorry, Sierra. I went to pick up the jewelry today, so I came back late and missed our wedding anniversary. Don't be angry, okay?" Sebastian Stone took out the box containing Eternal Summer to appease her. The collar of his black shirt was slightly open, the top button undone. The moment he lowered his head, the dense cluster of hickeys and scratches on the skin beneath his collar deeply stung Seraphina Ashton's eyes. Had he really gone to pick up jewelry, or had he gone to sleep with Leela Linton? She feared he had just climbed out of Leela's bed. Sebastian, however, didn't notice anything amiss with her. His eyes full of love, he put the jewelry on her. The piece refracted a dazzling brilliance, making her beautiful face even more captivating. "Sierra, it's beautiful," Sebastian praised her sincerely, his eyes filled with awe. Seraphina Ashton, however, showed no joy. With red-rimmed eyes, she merely handed him the gift box from the table, the one containing the divorce agreement. "This is for you," Sebastian was puzzled. "What is it?" Seraphina Ashton forced a smile. "A gift. You prepared a gift for me for our wedding anniversary. Naturally, I have to give one in return." Surprise instantly flashed in Sebastian's eyes, and he was about to tear it open as if it were a treasure. But Seraphina Ashton stopped him. "Open it in half a month." "Why?" he asked, somewhat perplexed. Seraphina Ashton said, word by word, "Because this gift will be more meaningful if you open it in half a month." Hearing this, Sebastian froze for a moment but didn't ask further. He just took her hand and kissed it gently. "Whatever my sweetheart says goes. Your husband will wait for this surprise." After speaking, he immediately, like an obedient puppy, tore off a sticky note, wrote a line on it, and solemnly stuck it on the gift box. "Open in half a month." Seraphina Ashton silently watched him do all this. "Sebastian Stone, I hope when the time comes, you'll truly find it a surprise." Chapter 2, Waking Up in the Morning, Sebastian Stone gave Seraphina Ashton a good morning kiss as usual. "Sierra, I missed our anniversary yesterday. Let me make it up to you today, okay? Let's go to the amusement park. Didn't you say you wanted to go before?" Seraphina Ashton had no interest. Just as she was about to refuse, Sebastian had already packed the things they needed for the outing and even picked out her clothes. After arriving at the amusement park, he paid close attention to her almost every moment. The instant she pursed her lips, he considerately brought water to her mouth. If she glanced at a stuffed toy for more than a second, he immediately bought it for her. Carousel, bumper cars, Ferris wheel. Sebastian didn't care if the rides were childish. As long as she liked them, he would accompany her. Sebastian held her hand, almost never letting go. Even if she resisted and tried to pull away, he would grip it tightly in his palm. In the end, he even bought a balloon and tied it to her bag, saying with a smile, "Sierra, this way you'll never get lost." Never get lost. But the place she was going this time, he would never find. "Sebastian Stone, you lost me a long time ago." The handsome man and beautiful woman, looking so affectionate, attracted the attention of countless visitors at the amusement park. Soon, someone recognized them. "Look, isn't that Mr. Stone and Mrs. Stone? To think we'd meet them in person here. They're so sweet." A girl and a young couple jumped up and down in excitement, pulling her boyfriend over to Seraphina Ashton. Can we take a photo with you? We really like you. We're your #1 fan couple." Seraphina Ashton looked at the girl's excited expression and, not wanting to disappoint her, agreed. Sebastian Stone didn't like taking pictures, but he was willing to cooperate for Seraphina. Click. The photo was taken. The young couple excitedly said, "You two have such a great relationship, it's so enviable. You must stay this way forever." Sebastian Stone smiled and nodded. He didn't notice that Seraphina, standing beside him, hadn't uttered a word from beginning to end, because only she knew they wouldn't have a future. During their lunch break, he checked his phone several times. Noticing Seraphina's gaze, he quickly placated her apologetically. "Sierra, sorry, I have some work that needs immediate attention. Be good, you eat first. I'll spend quality time with you later, okay?" However, the next moment, a virtual castle gift flashed across his phone screen. He was lying. He wasn't handling work, he was watching a live stream. Seraphina Ashton curled her lip. "Hindi, hima inus Hindi, he ha inus Hindi, he ka inus ingly," and silently opened Leela Linton's live stream on her phone. Leela Linton was an obscure internet influencer. Yet, not long ago, Sebastian Stone had signed her to his company and even made her the spokesperson for Eternal Summer. Everyone was speculating whether someone powerful was backing her, given her excellent resources. Little did they know, the person behind her was Sebastian Stone himself. At this moment, Leela Linton was live streaming from the entrance of the amusement park. She held up her phone, proudly showing off to her audience. "Look everyone, my boyfriend bought me this amusement park. You get a discount if you mention my name. Welcome, everyone, come and play." Hearing this, Serafina Ashton's hand clutching her phone turned icy cold, a faint chill emanating from it. This amusement park he brought her to, he bought it for Leela Linton. The comment section was full of doubts. "Stop bragging. How could a minor influencer like you land such a tycoon? Just trying to get attention, right? Without proof, I could stand at the amusement park entrance and claim it's mine too. She's desperate to be famous. Do you even know this amusement park costs hundreds of millions?" Leela Linton bit her lip, aggrieved. "I'm not lying, look, isn't this my name on it?" Saying this, she took out a property deed from her bag. Leela Linton's name was written in black and white. The live stream chat instantly exploded, comments flooding the screen as everyone expressed their awe. "I was ignorant. I've witnessed a true tycoon today. Gifting an entire amusement park, this level of doting on his wife, is on par with that Mr. Stone who loves his wife as his life. They say a man's money follows his heart. Why haven't I ever met such a peerless good man? Because there are only two peerless good men in the world. One is Mr. Stone, and the other is Leela Linton's mysterious boyfriend. Come on, everyone, let's discuss. Who loves their partner more? Mr. Stone for Mrs. Stone, or Leela's boyfriend for Leela? Press 1 for the former, 2 for the latter." The screen below filled with one S. After all, Sebastian Stone was famous for spoiling his wife, not only spending money but also nearly losing his life for her. It was at this moment that an account named Loves Leela suddenly appeared and sent 10,000 virtual yachts in one go, the screen filled with dazzling special effects that left people speechless. This barrage of gifts instantly caused the number of viewers in Leela's live stream to skyrocket from a few 100,000 to over 10 million. Then, a scrolling message flashed conspicuously. "Of course, I love my Leela more." The live stream chat exploded again, with everyone spamming frantically. "The man himself has appeared so rich, so rich." Leela Linton smiled triumphantly, her eyes filled with the arrogance of being doted upon. "See, I told you my boyfriend loves me." Serafina Ashton's hand holding her phone trembled slightly. When she looked up again, she saw Sebastian Stone's lips curved into a slight smile, his eyes full of indulgence. He was Loves Leela. Her heart felt as if it had been viciously wrung out. The hand had let go, but the lingering pain was unbearable. Chapter 3, the pain in Serafina Ashton's chest was intense. She clutched it tightly with her right hand, momentarily struggling to breathe. Sebastian Stone finally noticed something was wrong and rushed forward. "Sierra, what's the matter?" The worry in his eyes didn't seem feigned, as if he too would collapse on the spot if anything happened to her. Yet, this man, who seemed to love her so desperately, had hidden so much from her. She struggled to control her emotions. "It's nothing. Just a sudden stitch." Sebastian immediately helped her by gently rubbing her chest. After confirming repeatedly that she was all right, he quickly sent her home to rest. On the way back, he tried to tell her amusing stories to cheer her up. But no matter how hard he racked his brains, she still couldn't bring herself to be happy. Serafina Ashton leaned against the car window, silently watching the scenery retreat outside, her expression unreadable. "Sierra, did I do something wrong?" He probed cautiously. "No," she finally spoke. "I was just thinking about a TV show I watched today." Sebastian instantly breathed a sigh of relief and smilingly picked up the topic. "What TV show?" Hearing this, Serafina Ashton slowly turned her face to meet Sebastian's gaze. The male lead used to love the female lead very much, but then he had a change of heart and kept it hidden from her. She quietly stared at his face, observing every subtle change in his expression, and said softly, "Sebastian Stone, if one day you have a change of heart." Absolutely not. Before she could finish, Sebastian quickly interrupted, as if unable to accept such a possibility. "Sierra, you are the person I love most in this life. Even if every man in the world betrayed their partner, I wouldn't. I can't live without you." Serafina Ashton, however, only felt a sharp pain in her heart. He couldn't live without her, yet he still went to taste the wildflowers outside. Just as she was about to speak, Sebastian's phone suddenly rang. He hesitated for a moment, about to hang up, but Serafina pushed him away. "Answer it." Only then did Sebastian obediently answer. She didn't know what was said on the other end, but his expression changed from initial calmness to a slight pupil constriction later, looking a bit unnatural. Then his Adam's apple bobbed. He hung up the phone and looked at Serafina. "Sira, something urgent came up at the company. I need to rush over now. How about I call you a cab home?" Serafina Ashton said nothing, just nodded and got out of the car. After watching Sebastian's Maybach drive away, she got into a taxi but didn't go back to the villa. Instead, she said, "Please follow that car ahead." The driver didn't ask any questions, started the vehicle, and followed at a leisurely pace, until the car in front stopped at a villa. Not far away, a girl in a bunny girl outfit opened the door. Seeing the man get out of the car, she immediately smiled and threw herself into his arms. The girl was Leela Linton. The man was Sebastian Stone. They had barely embraced when they began to kiss eagerly. Their lips and tongues tangled for a long time before Leela, gasping for breath, separated from Sebastian, smilingly tugging at his tie. "Master, your little bunny has prepared an even bigger surprise for you. Don't you want to see it?" As she spoke, her fingertip lightly tapped his Adam's apple. Sebastian's Adam's apple rolled a few times. He tightly gripped Leela's hand, his eyes full of desire. "It was a 30-minute drive, but I made it in 15. Sweetie, do you think I want to see it?" Leela chuckled, hooking his long fingers and walking towards the car. "Let's see it in the car." After they got into the car, it wasn't long before the car began to rock gently. Then, the rocking became more and more violent. No one knew that Serafina Ashton was watching this scene from a car not far away. She had long since given up any illusions about him, but when she truly saw this scene, her heart was being sliced by a knife. Like a sharp hook suddenly snagging her heart, she pressed hard on her chest, gasping for air, large tears streaming down her face. When they were dating, Sebastian had always cherished her. Even in moments of intense passion, he would forcibly restrain himself, unwilling to touch her. He said the first time was very important and should be saved for the wedding night to be perfect. He pursued her for 3 years, dated her for 3 years, and finally it was their wedding night. That night, Sebastian Stone, a commanding figure in the business world, was so nervous he was a mess. He had barely taken off her clothes when the tips of his ears turned completely red. He valued her so much, paying attention to her feelings every step of the way. The moment he possessed her, he was so moved he even cried. Over and over, he whispered in her ear, "Sira, you're finally mine. I love you. I will always love you." At that time, she truly felt cherished. She thought, in this lifetime, perhaps no one would love her more than Sebastian Stone. Sebastian Stone loved only Serafina Ashton. He had said it himself. But now, it was he himself who broke this vow. The female cab driver in front saw her crying like this, sighed deeply, and handed her a tissue. Men are all like this. None of them can resist temptation. Even me, because of the child, I can't leave even if I want to. As she spoke of her own sorrows, her voice choked up, pausing several times before continuing, "Sister, don't be sad. You're already married, just bear with it. Forgive him this time, pretend you didn't see." Serafina Ashton clutched the tissue in her hand, her voice hoarse but exceptionally firm as she said, word by word, "No, I will not forgive. Sebastian Stone, I will never forgive you." After returning home, she rummaged through everything, gathering all the gifts Sebastian had ever given her, including the priceless, eternal summer. She made a phone call. "Is this the property agent? I want to sell all of these. Donate all the money from the sale to a women's foundation to help those women who want a divorce but are unable to due to children or financial reasons." It only took an hour for her to send everything out. Then she began to pack her own luggage. Halfway through packing, Sebastian Stone suddenly returned. He burst in, braving the wind and rain, without even an umbrella, his body radiating a damp chill. Yet he didn't have time to change, rushing to her, his voice trembling. "Sira, why did you sell Eternal Summer?" Chapter 4, Eternal Summer, was incredibly valuable. The only way it could be sold was through an auction house. So Sebastian Stone had seen Eternal Summer at an auction. She didn't answer immediately but instead asked, "You went to an auction?" Sebastian froze, his expression somewhat evasive. After a few seconds, he replied, "I wanted to buy you some jewelry." Was it to buy for her or for Leela? Leela had prepared such a big surprise for him. Naturally, he should reciprocate. Seraphina Ashton had already composed herself. Her voice was calm as she said, "I didn't sell it, I donated it." Hearing this, Sebastian held her hand with a helpless look. "Sira, I know you're kind, but if you want to donate something, you can use other things. This one, however, cannot be donated." After speaking, he took a box out from his coat and placed it in front of Seraphina. The black velvet box opened, revealing that very Eternal Summer. The unique brilliance of the jewelry remained unchanged. "I bought it back. Eternal Summer is proof of my love for you. You can never take it off." Saying this, Sebastian Stone personally put it on her again. She looked at the necklace, now back with its original owner, and gave a self-mocking smile. "Sebastian Stone, oh Sebastian Stone, how can your acting be so good? You just rushed back from another woman, and now you can utter such sweet nothings of love to me." That night, just as she was about to fall asleep, Sebastian's phone suddenly rang. He immediately silenced it and patted her back reassuringly. A few seconds later, the phone rang again. After this happened a few times, Sebastian frowned, afraid of disturbing Seraphina, and had to answer the call. The voice on the other end was particularly clear in the quiet environment. "Seb, come out and play, the guys are all here, just waiting for you." Sebastian refused without thinking. "I need to put Sira to sleep." Hanging up. Hey, don't hang up, stop being so whipped. How long has it been since you last hung out with the boys?" "Yeah, other guys forget their bros when they get a wife, but you completely ditched your bros once you got a wife." "That's too much." The voices on the other end were noisy. Sebastian covered the microphone. "All right, quiet down. I've said it before, no one in the world is more important than my wife. I need to be with my wife." Even though he said this, the people on the other end persisted. Several different people took turns trying to persuade him, determined to get Sebastian out no matter what. At a stalemate, Seraphina, who had been woken up, finally spoke, "You should go out and meet them. You haven't seen each other in a while." Sebastian looked reluctant, but since Seraphina had spoken, he compromised. "Then I'll take you with me. If you don't go, I won't go." The person on the other end immediately started persuading Seraphina, "Sis, come play with Seb. It'll be good to get out and have some fun. Yeah, sis, please come out. If you don't, Seb won't come." Finally, Seraphina nodded, and only then was Sebastian willing to go out. As soon as they opened the door to the private room and saw his friends each with an armful of about a dozen women, Sebastian's brow furrowed deeply. He unhesitatingly turned to leave. His friends immediately understood and hurriedly shooed away the women beside them. Go, hurry up and go." Only after all the women in the private room had left did his friends sigh and sling an arm around his shoulder. "Seb, how come you haven't changed after all these years? Besides, sis, no other woman can get near you." Sebastian pushed him away with disgust, even patting off non-existent dust. "I'm a married man. I need to give Sira a sense of security. What would an unmarried guy like you understand?" Instantly, everyone in the room burst into teasing laughter and looked at Seraphina playfully. Although he was out with his friends, Sebastian's eyes were only on Seraphina from beginning to end. When someone lit a cigarette, he immediately shot them a threatening look, making them stub it out. Sira doesn't like the smell of smoke. When someone offered him a toast, he shook his head without giving any face. Sira doesn't like the smell of alcohol on me. When someone started singing, he frowned. Turn it off. Sira likes it quiet. Sebastian Stone coldly refused everyone's invitations, focusing solely on peeling fruit for Seraphina. He skillfully wielded the fruit knife, and a bowl of exquisitely prepared, clean fruit was presented to her appeasingly. Sira, eat up. Noticing her thin dress and the slightly low air conditioning temperature, he quickly took off his jacket and draped it over her. Sira, is this better? Are you still cold? The crowd sighed and cheered one after another. Seb, you really deserve to have a wife. Chapter 5. Seraphina Ashton, however, remained silent. After accompanying him for a while, she no longer wanted to continue the charade. It's too late, I'm leaving first. Sebastian also stood up to leave, but his friends quickly stopped him. Sis isn't feeling well and needs more rest. We brothers haven't gathered in so long, you can't leave first? Yeah, just let Sis go back for her beauty sleep. Stay and have some fun with us guys. Serafina pulled her hand free from Sebastian's grasp and slowly said, "The driver will take me back. You stay." As soon as she finished speaking, she turned and left. She walked away so quickly that Sebastian didn't even have time to stop her. Not long after the car started, Serafina felt a phone in her coat pocket that wasn't hers. It was black Sebastian's. She frowned and told the driver to turn around. Just as the car stopped outside the club, Serafina saw Leela Linton getting out of a taxi. Leela kept checking her makeup and her phone, not watching where she was going as she headed towards the private room. Serafina instinctively tightened her grip on the phone in her hand and followed Leela. Sure enough, Leela stopped at the private room where Sebastian was. As soon as she entered, Leela threw herself into Sebastian's arms. He naturally wrapped his arm around her waist, affectionately stroking her hair. "How did you get here so fast?" Leela leaned on his shoulder, smiling coquettishly. "I missed you. I came as soon as I got your call." Sebastian chuckled. "Then you deserve a reward." Saying this, he planted a fiery kiss on her lips, and then their lips and tongues intertwined passionately. All right, stop the PDA." His friends weren't surprised at all. Instead, they looked on with teasing smiles. Serafina stood outside the door, watching everything through the crack, feeling a chill spread through her entire body. So everyone knew about him and Leela. They were all acting in front of her. "Seb, now that Leela's here, can we play some more daring games?" His friends raised their eyebrows and smiled, even clapping their hands to call back the women from earlier. Soon, almost every man had a woman in his arms. The game was simple: spin the bottle. Whoever the bottle neck pointed to had to play truth or dare. After several spins, it finally landed on Sebastian. The crowd cheered, and the atmosphere gradually reached a climax. "Seb, when was the last time?" The questioner smiled ambiguously, and everyone understood his meaning. Sebastian raised an eyebrow, unperturbed. "Yesterday. In the car." This statement instantly caused a huge stir. "Damn, impressive, how was it?" Leela's face had long turned red, and she buried herself tightly in his embrace. He smirked and said, word by word, "She served me well. Very. Soul-stirring. Ha 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 ha, I told you ages ago, wildflowers are always more tempting than the ones at home. Yeah, Seb, for guys like us, who doesn't have a few women on the side. As long as you hide it well, you can be happy for a lifetime. Serafina will never find out." As they spoke, the friends kissed their female companions one after another, their hands roaming freely. Hearing Serafina's name, the smile on Sebastian's face suddenly froze. His expression darkened slightly, and he said seriously, "Don't let Sira know, otherwise, you know the consequences." Yes, sis won't find out." These words drilled into Serafina's ears, every single one. The sound of laughter from inside was incessant, but she felt completely cold, her feet numb without her realizing it, like a walking corpse, dazedly walking away. The driver, seeing something was wrong with her, hurried over. He wanted to go in and tell Sebastian, but was immediately stopped by her. "Don't take me, I want to walk by myself, and don't tell Sebastian I came back." Serafina told the driver to go back on his own, then walked alone on the deserted street. Suddenly, a heavy rain poured down, but she seemed to feel nothing. The icy rainwater only made her more awake. She didn't know how long she walked. A very, very long time, longer than that snowy night when she was 17, when she sprained her ankle, and Sebastian carried her home. It turned out that true feelings really could change in an instant. Chapter 6. Back home, Serafina Ashton developed a high fever that wouldn't subside. Sebastian Stone returned home, tipsy, and saw her unconscious, her cheeks flushed. He panicked. He quickly picked her up and rushed her to the hospital. When consciousness returned, Serafina Ashton twitched her heavy eyelids, finally managing to open them with difficulty. Seeing her awake, the nurse changing her IV drip was instantly overjoyed. "Mrs. Stone, you're finally awake. You had a fever for a whole day and night." Mr. Stone was terribly worried and stayed by your bedside until he just left to take a call. "Should I go get him? He'll be so happy to know you're awake." Serafina Ashton shook her head, her voice hoarse and raspy. "No need." The nurse didn't say anything further. After changing her IV, she respectfully withdrew. The large hospital room instantly fell silent, so quiet that Serafina could even hear Sebastian's voice on the phone outside. He was usually composed, only losing control in front of her. But now, his voice on the phone carried joy and excitement. A short while later, the sound of footsteps receded. Sebastian had left. She mustered all her strength to get out of bed and slowly followed him. After going down a few floors, she saw Sebastian Stone supporting Leela Linton. As they walked out of the OB-GYN clinic, the smiles on their faces were obvious, their upturned lips almost unable to contain their joy. Seeing Serafina, Leela deliberately cried out in surprise, "Mrs. Stone, what a coincidence, you're at the hospital too." Hearing the voice, Sebastian looked up and met Serafina's eyes, who was standing not far away. His body tensed abruptly, and he quickly let go of Leela's arm. "Sira, I came downstairs to get your medicine and accidentally bumped into Leela. She's pregnant, so I was just helping her because I was afraid something might happen." He explained nervously, terrified she would misunderstand. Serafina's gaze fell on Leela's abdomen, and she felt her breath suddenly tighten. She closed her eyes for a moment before saying, "Miss Linton, when did you get pregnant? Why isn't the baby's father here?" Leela touched her abdomen with a blissful expression, smiling sweetly. "I just found out. It's already been a month. Although the baby's father couldn't come because of some business, he was overjoyed when he learned I was pregnant. He not only bought me several villas and transferred 100 million to me, but tonight he's also going to set off fireworks across the city to celebrate the upcoming birth of our loved child." She boasted animatedly. Serafina just looked at her for a long time before managing a smile. "Is that so?" Leela smiled, her expression growing even more smug. "Yes, Mrs. Stone, since you happen to be free today, would you like to have dinner together? I'll ask the baby's father to join us." Hearing this, Sebastian's expression changed drastically. He shot Leela a dark glance, instantly silencing her. "No need, Sira doesn't have the time." After speaking, Sebastian embraced Serafina appeasingly, coaxing her in a gentle tone. "Sira, you're not well yet, don't run around. She's just a spokesperson. No need to pay her any mind." Hearing the disdain in Sebastian's tone, Leela's face turned various shades of green and white. Then, she timidly lowered her head, her eyes red with grievance. "Yes, I got too carried away. How could I possibly be worthy of having dinner with Mrs. Stone?" After speaking, she wiped her tears and turned to leave, as if in a fit of pique. Sebastian's expression flickered. He was about to quickly chase after her, but seeing Serafina standing calmly beside him, he ultimately decided against it. After getting a pile of prescriptions, Serafina was discharged and went home. Perhaps because he had yelled at Leela earlier, Sebastian was distracted the entire way. After dropping her home, he made an excuse about company matters and shut himself in the study. As soon as Serafina returned to her room, she received an image from Leela Linton. It was an ultrasound report. Following that was a series of provocative messages. "Serafina Ashton, I know you figured it out today. The child is Sebastian's. Don't think he loves you that much. If he truly loved you, then what does my existence even mean? Do you know how infatuated he is with me? Every year, on your birthday, on your wedding anniversary, he comes to me after coaxing you to sleep. He's very vigorous. We use up several boxes of condoms every time. I can barely get out of bed the next day. We've left traces of our lovemaking in his Maybach, his CEO office, even your marital bed. All 72 positions, he's used them all on me. They say sex and love are inseparable. Has he ever been this inventive with you?" Looking at these provocative messages, Serafina Ashton took a deep breath, suppressing the churning emotions within her. The moment she turned off her phone, Sebastian hugged her from behind. "Sweetheart, what are you looking at?" He rested his chin on her neck, only seeing the dark screen of her phone. Chapter 7, Nothing. Serafina Ashton, her eyes red, gazed out the window. The next second, countless fireworks exploded in the sky outside, dazzlingly beautiful. Serafina remembered what Leela had said during the day. Tonight, Sebastian would set off fireworks across the city for her. Seeing her staring blankly at the fireworks outside, Sebastian's eyes were full of indulgence. "You like watching these? Then I'll prepare a fireworks show for you two, even grander than this one, okay?" Sebastian hugged her tightly, coaxing her softly. Serafina Ashton smiled, but her smile was tinged with bitterness, with tears. Sebastian Stone, I don't like things others have used. Whether it was fireworks or people. Knowing she was talking about the fireworks, his heart skipped a beat, and a sudden panic set in for some reason. After a moment of silence, he held her even tighter. Then I'll prepare other surprises for you. I'll make sure you never envy other women. Serafina Ashton remained silent, just quietly gazing into the distance, not answering. For the next few days, Sebastian Stone left early and returned late, acting mysteriously. Even the household staff noticed something unusual, teasing with a smile, "Madam, Sir must be secretly preparing a surprise for you." "Yes, Sir truly pampers Madam. He just custom-made exclusive jewelry, and now he's preparing something else." Surprises one after another, endlessly. Serafina Ashton, however, just listened with a blank expression, showing no reaction. Until this day, Sebastian Stone mysteriously took her hand and led her out. "Sira, I'm taking you to a place you'll definitely like." Just as Serafina was about to refuse, her phone suddenly vibrated. It was a text from Leela Linton. "Serafina Ashton, guess who's more important in his heart now, you or me?" The next second, Sebastian's phone also vibrated. Serafina merely glanced at it and saw the image on his screen. Leela had sent him a picture of her legs in black stockings, followed by a somewhat playful, "Don't miss out. Time is ticking." Instantly, Sebastian's eyes darkened, his Adam's apple bobbing a few times. A few seconds later, he put his phone away. "Sira, a project has run into some problems. I need to go deal with it urgently. How about I take you out to see the surprise next time?" She silently looked into his eyes, then let out a laugh. That laugh made him inexplicably anxious. The next second, she got out of the car directly, without a single word. And after only a 3-second hesitation, Sebastian's car sped off, not stopping for her. A few hours later, Leela sent a photo of a trash can full of torn, open condom wrappers. "Serafina Ashton, you lost again. You know, I'm pregnant and he's still this impatient. How much must he love me?" Leela's tone was smug. Serafina looked at the photos, still not replying. She had already decided to leave. These things could no longer hurt her. For the next few days, Sebastian Stone did not return. Serafina Ashton never asked. However, messages from Leela never ceased. Sometimes it was fruit cut into pieces, sometimes it was cabinets full of luxury goods, sometimes it was meals he cooked himself. Everything was demonstrating how much Sebastian Stone loved her. Serafina Ashton didn't reply. She was busy clearing out everything in this house that was related to her. If she was going to disappear, she had to disappear completely. Chapter 8. The first day, when Leela Linton sent a photo of Sebastian Stone peeling shrimp for her, Serafina Ashton prepared a brazier and burned all the photos taken with Sebastian. The second day, when Leela sent a photo of Sebastian kissing her under a plane tree, Serafina hired workers to tear down the cherry trees he had planted by hand in the villa's backyard. The third day, when Leela sent a compilation of Sebastian's public declarations of love in her live stream, Serafina found the hundreds of love letters Sebastian had written to her. The love letters had yellowed somewhat with time, but the handwriting on them was still clear. She caressed the handwriting, then, without a trace of pity, fed them into the paper shredder, one by one. On the morning of her departure, Serafina Ashton had just opened her eyes when she saw Sebastian Stone, who hadn't been home in a long time, standing by her bed. He stood there, holding her phone. Seeing her awake, his expression was somewhat grim. "Sira, a text message just came to your phone. It said the cancellation was successful. What are you canceling?" Hearing this, Serafina's heart skipped a beat. She quickly took back her phone and lit up the screen. It was a text confirming the successful cancellation of her identity. Fortunately, her phone had a password. Sebastian had only seen a few words on the screen. Serafina finally relaxed and said casually, "Nothing. A social media account was hacked. I felt it wasn't safe, so I recovered it and then deleted it." Hearing this, Sebastian finally sighed in relief, pulled her into his arms, and said with a smile, "Sweetheart, guess what I bought that you love to eat?" She froze for a moment, then said softly, "The sweet rice cakes from the east side." "How did you know?" Sebastian's eyes held surprise. How could she not know? When they were dating, every time Sebastian angered her, he would travel far to the east side shop to buy those sweet rice cakes as an apology. The sweet aroma would instantly soften her heart. She didn't love jewelry or luxury cars, she just loved that taste. Back then, he had even said with a smile, "My Sira is so easy to please." She had just poked his forehead a few times. "It's not that I'm easy to please, it's that I still love you, so I'm willing to forgive whatever you do. If one day I don't love you anymore, even if you killed yourself in front of me, it would be useless." The memories gradually drifted away. Sebastian took out the box of sweet rice cakes from behind him, smiling indulgently. "Indeed, I still can't hide anything from you." Hearing this, Serafina smiled, saying word by word, "Yes, you can't hide anything from me." Inexplicably, Sebastian's heart skipped half a beat. He murmured, "Sira." Serafina, however, said nothing and got out of bed to freshen up in the bathroom. When she came out after washing up, she saw Sebastian hurriedly leaving the house. Serafina remained silent for only 2 seconds before following him out. But as soon as she reached the doorway, she stopped, because she saw Leela Linton standing not far away. She was being so brazen now, even finding her way to the villa. Apart from her surprise, it was Sebastian whose emotions were more volatile. He strode over, his face dark as he gripped her hand. "Are you crazy? Why did you come here? I told you. You're not allowed to appear when Sira is around." Hearing his roared words, Leela trembled, her eyes instantly reddening as she reached out to tug at his sleeve, aggrieved. "I can't be away from you for a moment, neither can the baby." As she spoke, she even took his hand and guided it to her abdomen. He, however, pulled his hand back with a cold expression. "Stop fooling around. I'll have Assistant Carter send you away first. I'll naturally come to accompany you and the child in a few days." But Leela refused to leave, grabbing his hand and whining, "No, I don't want to go with Assistant Carter. I want you to stay with me." After speaking, she stood on her tiptoes, tugged Sebastian's tie, and went to kiss his lips. Sebastian frowned, intending to push her away, but after she clung to him for a few seconds, he forcefully grabbed her and began to kiss her deeply. They stood in the garden, their kiss gradually deepening. The moment his fingers slipped into her clothes, just as things were about to get out of control, he stopped himself in time, pushing her away. "You should go." Leela's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. She leaned against him clingingly and whispered something in his ear. Sebastian's expression changed slightly. Finally, he relented. "All right, I'll accompany you today. You get in the car first. I'll be over in a moment." Leela got her wish, her eyes crinkling with a smile as she touched her belly and got into the car. Seeing Sebastian was about to return, Serafina finally turned around abruptly. A short while later, Sebastian entered the house. His first words were, "Sira, I wanted to spend quality time with you today, but I just got a call. There's an emergency at the company, so I have to go out. Be good at home. Once I'm done with this, I promise I'll stay home with you all day, okay?" He waited nervously for her reply, but Serafina just glanced up at him. Just one glance and he was stunned. When had the light in his Sira's eyes disappeared, his Adam's apple bobbed. He unknowingly called her name, "Sira?" He wanted to say more, but Serafina spoke, a faint, light smile on her lips. "Go on, attend to your business." Her tone was gentle as always, showing no sign of abnormality. Finally, his heart completely relaxed. He stopped overthinking, tousled her hair, and turned to leave. Soon, the sound of a car horn came from outside, then the sound grew fainter and fainter until it disappeared completely. The smile on Serafina Ashton's face vanished entirely, replaced by 2 streams of tears. She silently wiped them away, threw all the sweet rice cakes from the table into the trash can, then went inside, took out her already packed suitcase. After taking one last look at this home, she sent Sebastian Stone her final message. "Half a month is up. You can look at the wedding anniversary gift I gave you earlier." He replied almost instantly, "Sweetheart, I'll be back soon. We'll look at it together then." Serafina Ashton smiled. "Together? Sebastian Stone, only you by yourself. For the rest of your life, it will only be you." She forwarded all the messages Leela had sent her recently to Sebastian, then unhesitatingly took out her phone's SIM card and snapped it in half. Finally, she left with her suitcase. The morning sun was fierce outside, a beautiful day. From now on, heaven and earth, no one would find Serafina Ashton. Chapter 9. Serafina Ashton, holding a temporary ID, took a car to the airport. The moment the plane took off, everything was in the past. After landing in F country, she had a new identity, the owner of a guest house on the coast. Meanwhile, in Metro City, Sebastian Stone was on the verge of losing his mind. Time rewound to a few hours earlier. After taking Leela Linton home, she still clung to him, refusing to let go. "Sebastian, you're already here. Aren't you coming up to see?" As she spoke, she ambiguously drew a few circles in his palm. Sebastian felt somewhat conflicted. For some reason, an inexplicable panic rose in his heart. "I won't go up for now. You go upstairs and head home. I still need to go back and be with Sira." He pushed Leela's hand away, remembering his promise to Serafina from earlier. He hadn't spent quality time with her in a long time. Otherwise, she'd make a fuss. Thinking of this, a hint of happiness touched Sebastian's lips. Leela hugged his waist again, refusing to let go. "Sebastian, didn't you want to see me wear that outfit? You've already brought me back. If you don't look this time, I won't wear it next time." Her hand mischievously started to explore under his clothes. Sebastian's expression turned cold, though his words were, "No, I promise, Sira." But after several advances from Leela, he finally relented. A few hours later, he straightened his clothes, ensuring there wasn't a single unwanted crease, and drove home. "Sira, I'm back. Sorry for the delay, for so long." Before he could finish, Sebastian sensed something was wrong. The villa was empty. There was no sign of Serafina Ashton. In the trash can were the untouched sweet rice cakes, not a single one tasted. His heart jolted violently, his eyes subconsciously searching the living room for something, as if expecting Serafina to appear before him in the next second. "Sira!" Sebastian called her name over and over, the panic in his heart growing larger. An impossible thought gradually surfaced. Sira had left him. He didn't want to believe it. "Sira, are you playing a joke on me? Come out, let's open the gift from half a month ago together. Didn't we agree? It was my fault this morning. I went to deal with work. I apologize to you." Sebastian spoke, his footsteps unceasing, his gaze scanning around, trying to find the hiding Serafina. It was only then that he suddenly realized many things in the villa seemed to be missing. Where were his and Sira's photos? Where had they all gone? Sebastian was nearly going mad. All the photos were gone. Even their wedding photos were missing. He subconsciously walked to the villa's backyard. The place where the cherry trees once stood was now a flat piece of ground. It was almost impossible to tell that trees had ever grown there. The household staff were even sowing flower seeds on that flat patch, trying to fill the bare spot. "Who told you to plant these here? Where did the cherry tree that was here before go?" Sebastian Stone snapped, a barely perceptible tremor of nervousness in his voice. The household staff answered, somewhat bewildered. "Mr. Stone, it was Madam who said 3 days ago to have the cherry tree cut down and burned. You've always doted on Madam, so we followed her orders." The staff members exchanged glances, their hearts pounding with nervousness. "What? Burned?" Sebastian Stone stumbled back a few steps in disbelief, feeling as if he'd been struck by lightning, almost unable to stand. Chapter 10, Then, do you know where Sira went? When did she leave? Sebastian Stone subconsciously licked his dry lips, his voice hoarse. The household staff all shook their heads. "Sir, Madam left with a suitcase early this morning. We don't know either." Left? Where else could she go? His mind went blank in waves. As he racked his brains, he couldn't think of anywhere else she could have gone. Serafina's parents had long since remarried and had their own families. It was impossible for Serafina to go to them. He could only pin his hopes on Serafina's friends. "Hello, this is Sebastian Stone. Is Sira with you?" "Huh, what nonsense are you talking about? How could Sira possibly be here?" Such conversations happened countless times. He even asked his own friends. No one knew Serafina Ashton's whereabouts. The taste of extreme despair washed over him again and again. It was as if he had returned to the time before he had Serafina. She was the only deep love of his life, almost equivalent to the flesh of his heart. The feeling of his own flesh being stripped away alive, that heart-wrenching pain, almost completely broke him. "Sira, stop playing with me, okay? I want to see you." Sebastian Stone roared himself hoarse, his eyes completely bloodshot, like a lion that had lost its mate. Suddenly, he remembered something and rushed upstairs. In the study, the sticker on the gift box that read "Open in half a month" peeled off easily. He held the gift box reverently, as if he had found some hope. "Maybe Sira left me a message here, hoping I would find her." Sebastian Stone muttered to himself, almost frantically. He unwrapped layers of packaging, opened the box, and a divorce agreement signed with Serafina Ashton's name lay glaringly before him. No, impossible. Impossible. He clutched the divorce agreement tightly, slumping into his chair in a daze, almost unable to believe what he was seeing. Sierra loves me so much, how could she abandon me? Who swapped out the gift Sierra gave me? Sebastian Stone gritted his teeth, stubbornly insisting. Then he summoned all the household staff from the villa, questioning them one by one about who had touched the gift box in the study cabinet. Mr. Stone, we are only responsible for cleaning. Without your or Madam's orders, we would never touch what we shouldn't. Yes, if you don't believe us, you can check the surveillance footage in the study. The truth will be clear at a glance. Every staff member claimed they hadn't done it. But Sebastian Stone still didn't relent. Only when the surveillance video played at accelerated speed before his eyes did he accept reality. In fact, how could he not know? The box in his hand was clearly the one Serafina had left for him half a month ago. It was just him, in his dying struggle, refusing to admit it. In that short half hour, the torment in his heart felt like a century. Countless inquiries were merely a desire for an accident to occur, to tell him. Sierra didn't really want to leave you. However, the truth was just that cruel. Sebastian Stone watched over and over as Serafina resolutely signed the divorce agreement, stroke by stroke. She had truly given up on him, wanted to leave him. But why? He asked himself. Every detail of his interactions with Serafina during this period was repeatedly replayed in his memory. Those subtle oddities from before gradually surfaced, becoming clear. Chapter 11. Perhaps Serafina Ashton had long since discovered his affair. That's what Sebastian Stone thought. He had originally thought he concealed it well, able to juggle both Serafina and Leela Linton. He thought he was very cautious with Leela. It was just for fun, impossible to bring her before Serafina, and impossible for Serafina to find out. But unexpectedly, she still found out. When did it start? How could she be so heartless, to divorce him and completely disappear from his world? His vision blurred with moisture, gradually obscured by tears. At this moment, Sebastian Stone suddenly remembered what Serafina had said when she agreed to his proposal. From now on, I will try my best to be your Mrs. Stone, but I will not accept any deception. If you lie to me, I will disappear from your world forever. At that time, Sebastian had confidently believed he would never do anything to wrong her. After all, he loved her so much. It was even more impossible for him to deceive her in any way. He wished he could cut out his entire heart and present it to her for her to see. But when did it all change? Was it the repeated instigation from his friends around him, the day-to-day monotony of married life, or the ceaseless seductions from countless flirts? Gradually, he had long lost that sincere heart he once had. He had drifted with the current, and in pursuit of excitement, he accepted Leela Linton's crude seductions. The endless persuasion from his friends, Serafina's ignorance, her continued kindness towards him, this atmosphere made him lose himself in an illusory dream. He confidently believed he could keep everything firmly under control. But he forgot that Serafina was never one to be meek and tolerant. The stark example of Serafina's parents was right before his eyes. She didn't want to walk the same path as her parents, initially struggling for the sake of children, only to become a resentful couple, even enemies after separating. Their love for their daughter had also worn away in the day-to-day entanglement. They even came to hate their daughter Serafina. Even meeting her was an act of extreme disgust. Once Serafina knew everything, it was impossible for her to tolerate it indefinitely. She had her own pride. A heart broken to an extreme could never be pieced back together completely. Rather than becoming a resentful couple like her parents, it was better to separate early. Serafina Ashton knew Sebastian Stone very well. She clearly understood that if Sebastian knew she wanted a divorce and to leave, he would absolutely not allow her to go, and would even use all means to keep her. Therefore, Serafina Ashton abandoned everything in her home country, including all her former identities and past, and completely disappeared from Sebastian Stone's world. After understanding all this, Sebastian Stone couldn't suppress the unwillingness in his heart. Sierra, impossible, I can't let you go. Chapter 12, he subconsciously wanted to tear up the divorce agreement in his hand. Only then did he belatedly remember that this might be the last thing she had left him. If he tore it up, he wouldn't even have this last memento. He traced Seraphina Ashton's name with his fingertip over and over, his eyes filled with longing for her. "Sera, it was my fault. I shouldn't have been with other women. I only love you. Hit me, scold me, whatever you want, just please don't leave my side. I can't live without you, Sera." Sebastian Stone repeated his apologies countless times, his voice growing hoarse. But the person who should have heard them was not before him. Saying more was futile. "Seraphina Ashton, I haven't signed yet, so we're not divorced. We're still husband and wife. I will find you." Sebastian Stone's eyes hardened, and he spoke with determination. He couldn't let her go. She belonged to him. He would admit his mistakes, but he would never accept Seraphina leaving. Sebastian Stone's eyes were full of determination as he carefully treasured the divorce agreement. Fortunately, he still had her photos on his phone, which could offer some solace for his longing. He searched the entire house, trying to find anything related to Seraphina Ashton. She had been ruthless, destroying everything in the house connected to her. Clothes she didn't need were sold or thrown away. Even the furniture had been completely replaced. Nothing else was spared. Just then, Leela Linton's call suddenly came through. "Sebastian, I saw the auction news for Eternal Summer online. Mrs. Stone, she—" "What did you say?" Sebastian's heart tightened. He quickly hung up, not even giving her a chance to add fuel to the fire. "Assistant Carter, help me check if Eternal Summer is being auctioned again. If it is, no matter the cost, make sure to buy it." After a long time, Assistant Carter called back, hesitating, unsure whether to speak. Mr. Stone, Eternal Summer has already been bought by a foreign collector. We were a step too late." Thud. The phone in Sebastian Stone's hand instantly slipped, fell to the ground, and the screen shattered. He was only a little late. How could this happen? Eternal Summer symbolized his feelings for her. She had sold it once. How could she bear to sell it a second time? Was his love so unimportant in her heart? He looked down, his eyes void, an aura of sadness and despair enveloping him. Even Eternal Summer belonged to someone else now. What about her? Would she belong to someone else too? Sebastian Stone could hardly imagine such a possibility. From the first moment he saw Seraphina Ashton, he had chosen her, wanting to be with her for a lifetime. He had imagined countless futures for them, all of them beautiful endings. But how did they drift apart? He hated himself intensely, and he hated Leela Linton even more. If it weren't for Leela, would everything be different? Sebastian Stone guarded the empty house alone, full of solitude and desolation. He carefully picked the sweet rice cakes out of the trash can. The cold, sweet rice cakes had long lost their original sweet taste, but he treasured them immensely because they were her favorite. She hadn't even eaten one just then. Sebastian Stone suddenly found Seraphina Ashton's phone card in the trash can. He quickly took it out, cleaned it, and inserted it into his own phone. As if by doing so, she was still by his side, able to talk to him. Suddenly, his phone lit up. It was a text message from a familiar phone number. "Seraphina Ashton, Sebastian loves me the most. You don't really think selling Eternal Summer will make him come back to you, do you? Did you know, we were just intimate in this very bed today." Chapter 13 then, a photo of a somewhat messy bed appeared before Sebastian Stone's eyes. He was so furious his eyes nearly popped out. So it was you?" Sebastian Stone's voice was icy, the pressure of his aura almost suffocating. Then he typed out a string of words. "Leela Linton, I remember warning you not to let Sera know about you and me." After this message was sent, Leela read it, snorted disdainfully, and then provocatively called him. "Seraphina Ashton, when did you learn to imitate Sebastian Stone's tone? You even sound a bit like him." "If I were you, I would have meekly given up the position of Mrs. Stone long ago. I'm already carrying Sebastian's child. Maybe in a little while, Sebastian will propose to me. At that time, you'll be the one kicked out without any dignity. If you don't want to end up like that, you might as well give me the position of Mrs. Stone sooner rather than later. You'll suffer less. Save yourself from ending up with nothing and being despised." As she spoke, Leela became increasingly smug, but the other end of the phone remained silent. For some reason, a trace of panic rose in her heart, but she immediately suppressed it, and continued. "Seraphina Ashton, are you so desperate and pained that you can't even speak? I told you long ago, I'm the one in Sebastian's heart. He doesn't love you at all, he's just putting on an act for you. The next second, Sebastian Stone's voice came through, completely shattering all of Leela's smugness. "Oh, is that so? What do you think you are? How dare you provoke Sierra? It seems I've given you too much face, letting you get so out of hand." "Speak, what exactly did you say to Sierra that you shouldn't have?" His voice was extremely cold, every word pounding wildly on Leela's heart. It was over. This time, she was truly finished. Leela trembled all over, almost unable to hold her phone. No, it couldn't be. She was carrying Sebastian Stone's child in her belly. He wouldn't do anything to her. Having figured this out, Leela instantly regained her confidence. Her tears fell on cue and her voice tinged with grievance. "Sebastian, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It was Mrs. Stone who insulted me first. I was just retaliating. It was my fault. I was wrong. Please don't be like this. I'm really scared." Leela, mimicking her previous behavior, showed weakness to Sebastian. As she spoke, she sobbed intermittently, her voice trembling, as if she were extremely aggrieved and weak. However, this time Sebastian was in no mood to tolerate her. "Enough, it's fine if you don't tell the truth. I have my ways to find out." He gave Leela no chance to explain and decisively hung up the phone. Then, Sebastian Stone directly had someone snatch Leela's phone. She hadn't even had time to find someone to fake the text messages before her phone was taken. Opening the phone, clicking on the text message section, one could clearly see that in that short half-month, Leela had sent Serafina numerous provocative photos and words. Sebastian Stone looked at those indecent and offensive photos and words, felt his vision go black, and his mind suddenly rumbled. What absurd things had he and Leela done during this time, just putting himself in Serafina's shoes? He felt so overwhelmed he could hardly breathe. He didn't dare to imagine how she had endured it all this time. If Serafina had done this, he might have already gone mad. Sebastian Stone's face was deathly pale, his heart aching beyond measure. After an unknown amount of time, he gradually calmed down. His handsome face, however, was terrifyingly cold, a murderous aura surrounding him, extremely dangerous. Chapter 14. Leela Linton was terrified. Sebastian Stone loved Serafina Ashton so much. What would he do to her after knowing everything? She dared not even imagine. At this moment, she thought of the only way to save herself. She quickly found her live streaming equipment, changed her makeup and clothes, trying hard to make herself look pitiful and vulnerable. Once everything was ready, she started the live stream, silently shedding tears, looking utterly wronged. "Sisters, brothers, I've been bullied. My boyfriend actually has another girlfriend outside. He might abandon me for that girlfriend, but I'm already carrying his child. Why would he do this to me? Clearly, he loved me very much before. How could he do this?" With Leela's embellishments, she successfully portrayed herself as an innocent girl who had been bullied. She even twisted black and white, pushing all the things she had done to Serafina onto Serafina. And she was the innocent victim. "Sisters, brothers, can you help me, please? I'm so scared. Will my boyfriend try to abort my baby? I can live without him, but I don't want to abort my child. The child is my emotional support. I can't live without him." Leela cried a river of tears, lamenting tearfully in the live stream. Countless indignant netizens stood up to speak for her. "How could that homewrecker do this to you? Men really are no good. I live near the streamer's house. I'll come help." Some netizens, overwhelmed by emotion, even rushed to the vicinity of Leela's home to protect her. Leela told them all her address. Before long, a crowd of busybodies had gathered downstairs from her apartment. "Leela, don't be afraid. Even if he's a tycoon, it's still his fault. With us here, he definitely won't do anything to you." Countless people stood in front of Leela. She touched her abdomen, feeling very secure. However, the next moment, Sebastian Stone got out of a car with a group of bodyguards in black suits. "Take these nuisances away." He gave the order with an indifferent expression. Instantly, the bodyguards moved out, taking away everyone who was protecting Leela. Not even a minute had passed, and the space in front of Leela was empty. "Sebastian, I'm sorry, I did something I shouldn't have. But I love you. It's precisely because I love you that I spoke recklessly and said those things. I just wanted to be with you." She fell weakly towards Sebastian's embrace, clutching his clothes, begging pitifully. "Ha!" Sebastian Stone sneered, gripping Leela's chin so tightly that it left a bluish-purple fingerprint on her face. "You shouldn't have, by any means, laid a hand on Sierra. I remember warning you many times." Sierra is my life. Now that you've forced her away, you should bear the consequences. With that, he coldly flung Leela away. Leela stumbled back several steps before shakily regaining her footing. My child, nothing can happen to my child. She looked at Sebastian in despair, never expecting him to say such heartless words. Serafina Ashton is so important in your heart, then what about me? What am I? I'm carrying your child in my belly. Are you going to abandon even your child? For so many days and nights, you were in my bed with me. You clearly have feelings for me too, don't you? She screamed hoarsely, but it didn't earn her a single tender look from Sebastian. Chapter 15. Shut up, Leela Linton, you better remember this. You're nothing more than a plaything for amusement. What right do you have to be compared with Sierra? Sebastian Stone's eyes were terrifyingly cold, with a hint of ruthlessness. It's just a child. I can have as many as I want. Men, take Leela Linton to the hospital and abort the child in her womb. Hearing this, Leela Linton completely panicked. She clutched her belly tightly. This was her only way to preserve her life and wealth. She couldn't abort this child. Leela deliberately ran towards the crowd. Those people would surely save her. They said they would protect her. Stand up for her. Sebastian Stone waved his hand, signaling the two bodyguards to stop and not bother with Leela. Watching her desperate struggle, his eyes were fierce, as if looking at a dead person. Sure enough, the next moment, Leela fell into even greater despair. The people who had been overcome by emotion earlier had now sobered up. All this was thanks to the fame of Sebastian Stone and Apex Group. The overwhelming news reports meant that almost no one didn't know Sebastian Stone and Apex Group. Even if you asked a child on the street, they could tell you a few stories about Sebastian Stone's doting love for Serafina Ashton. After all, countless couples had envied their love and even talked about it to their children. When people saw Sebastian Stone and the group of bodyguards behind him, they recognized who he was. However, what nobody expected was that Leela Linton, the sweet couple blogger they loved to watch, was actually Sebastian Stone's mistress. Instantly, everyone's idealized image of Sebastian Stone shattered. However, what angered them even more was that Leela had actually exploited their sympathy, fabricating the original wife, Serafina Ashton, as the homewrecker. To think they had believed Leela so much earlier, even stood in front of her to protect her, and wanted to speak up for her. Intense anger gradually rose in everyone's eyes. How could Leela exploit their kindness and lead them around by the nose? Water can carry a boat, but it can also capsize it. As soon as Leela rushed over, she was engulfed by countless people who had gathered, wanting to vent their anger. They punched and kicked her, and the insults they hurled were too vile to repeat. Terms like homewrecker and slut were mild. In their mouths, Leela's entire family met with no good end. They were almost all speaking out for Serafina Ashton. Sebastian Stone watched until he felt enough had been done, then slowly walked over and ordered the bodyguards to separate the crowd. He lifted Leela's chin with the tip of his shoe and said coldly, "Apologize to Sierra and admit your mistakes on all platforms. Go get the child aborted obediently, delete your account, and never appear before me again." He gave Leela no room for refusal. In front of him, she had always been the subordinate one. Leela lay on the ground without any dignity, yet she still tightly protected her abdomen. Even though countless people had hit her and cursed her earlier, she hadn't fought back, always fiercely protecting her belly. This was her last hope. As long as the child could be born safely, she would still have a way to live. Chapter 16. But Sebastian Stone had no intention of giving her this chance. He had already done many things to wrong Sierra. If he still wanted to win Sierra back, then this child absolutely could not be kept. Once the child was born, it would be even more impossible for him and Sierra. Sebastian Stone's heart hardened, and he directly had the bodyguards drag Leela to the hospital. Leela struggled and resisted countless times, but she was still no match for several bodyguards and ended up on the cold operating table. Anesthetic was injected into her body. She gradually lost control of her limbs, and her eyelids closed uncontrollably. When she woke up again, her abdomen was empty. There had been a fully formed child there. The pain in her abdomen pulled at her, making even the slightest movement extraordinarily difficult. The child was really gone. Leela lay on the hospital bed in despair. Bodyguards were still there, watching her, making her apologize to Serafina Ashton. Soon after, Sebastian Stone saw the apology video Leela posted across all online platforms. He curled his lips in satisfaction, but he couldn't smile at all. What was the use of an apology? It couldn't bring his Sierra back. To this day, he still hadn't found Seraphina Ashton's whereabouts. She seemed to have vanished into thin air, as if she had never existed. If it weren't for the traces of her existence still preserved online, Sebastian Stone would almost think her existence was just a dream. If only I hadn't gone to see Leela off the day Sierra left, perhaps things wouldn't have come to this. If only I had stayed true to my heart and not been lured by Leela. If only... Sebastian Stone sat in a private room at a bar, downing bottle after bottle of alcohol in remorse. He didn't know how long it had been since he last had a good night's sleep. The scent of Seraphina Ashton in the house was fading, so much so that he could barely stand to be there. However, countless bottles of alcohol down his throat didn't bring intoxication, but rather a greater clarity. He knew, with stark clarity, that she was no longer by his side. Heck, Sebastian Stone hugged a bottle, a bitter smile on his face. Sierra, I'm sorry, I shouldn't drink. I know you hate the smell of alcohol on me the most. Come out, scold me, please. If you just appear before me, I'll stop drinking. He was like a childish brat, making unreasonable demands. Several of his friends heard Sebastian was here and called over a group of young, beautiful girls. You girls, whoever can comfort that Mr. Stone, your future wealth and glory will be assured, a man in a wine-red shirt said in a low voice. The 10 girls nodded repeatedly, filing in one after another, each finding a seat close to Sebastian Stone. Mr. Stone? A stunningly beautiful girl sat to Sebastian's left, her slender fingers, like water snakes, deftly slithering into his clothes. Get lost, his face turned as black as the bottom of a pot. He directly grabbed a wine bottle and smashed it over the beautiful girl's head. Blood instantly gushed out. The girl screamed, but Sebastian, annoyed, kicked her away. Who gave you the audacity, disgusting things? Get out now, in an instant. All the girls in the private room scattered like birds, fleeing. Not one dared to stay. After all, getting their hands touched outside was better than being beaten bloody here and getting nothing for it. Sebastian Stone's brow was furrowed with irritation. He pinched the bridge of his nose and opened another bottle, chugging from it. His friends exchanged glances, sighing one after another. Chapter 17. Seb, what's this all about? Leela made a mistake, you taught her a lesson, and that should be it. Do you really love Seraphina Ashton that much? Yeah, isn't Seraphina Ashton just a woman? With your status now, what kind of woman can't you get? She left, so she left. Are you going to chase after her and not let go? You should let her see that without her, you can have many other women and live even better that way. She'll obediently come back. Exactly, at worst, find a few who look like Seraphina Ashton, have them learn her ways, wouldn't that be the same? His friends spoke carelessly, trying to comfort him. Over the years, they had witnessed Sebastian Stone's deep affection for Seraphina Ashton and felt it was somewhat undeserved. They were all surrounded by women, only Sebastian was different. Was Seraphina Ashton really that good? However, the moment this question arose, it proved that they too were tempted by such a life. Countless times before, they had also envied the relationship between Sebastian Stone and Seraphina Ashton and felt jealous. Because they bore the title of playboys, they would never meet a sincere woman and had long forgotten how to treat people with sincerity. Women were merely playthings in their eyes, but Sebastian Stone was the anomaly among them. Although they had a good relationship with him, they dreamed of pulling him down, making him one of them. Sebastian accepting Leela meant he had completely become one of them. They didn't understand what he was sad and regretful about now. It was just a woman, what was so special? However, when Sebastian Stone heard their dismissive words about Seraphina Ashton, anger surged in his heart. He grabbed wine bottles and started cracking them over their heads one by one. When he got physical, no one present escaped unscathed. Even though he had drunk a lot, his punches and kicks were still sharp, his movements swift and fluid, each blow landing solidly. Those who went to mediate were beaten black and blue. Before long, the private room was littered with fallen bodies. Seraphina Ashton is my life. If I hear any of you speak ill of her again, watch out for your families, I will absolutely not let you off, Sebastian Stone said mercilessly. The private room instantly fell silent. Everyone was as quiet as a cicada in winter, not daring to even move. It was the first time they had seen him this furious. Each one of them was as timid as a sparrow. After a long time, when they saw Sebastian Stone drinking again, the stagnant atmosphere in the private room finally eased. One man, still resentful, endured his anger, went out, and called the club manager. "See this woman in the photo. Find a few who look like her, the more similar the better. Send them over as soon as possible." The man pointed to Serafina Ashton's photo on his phone and said coldly. He also sent a copy to the manager. The club collaborated with some high-end establishments in Metro City. It wasn't difficult to arrange for a few girls to serve a person of status. Before long, a girl who bore a 5/10 resemblance to Serafina Ashton knocked on the private room door. "Excuse me, did you call for service?" She spoke timidly, pushing a small cart with drinks and snacks. After opening the door, the others in the room were somewhat surprised. This girl really did look a bit like Serafina Ashton, just a bit younger, much more innocent. Several people gestured for the girl to go to Sebastian Stone. They smiled confidently, not believing Sebastian would refuse this woman. "Sir, is this the drink you ordered?" The girl stood in front of Sebastian Stone and called out to him softly. Chapter 18. Sebastian Stone slightly raised his eyes. For a fleeting moment, he almost truly believed it was Serafina Ashton standing before him. "Siri, you're back, you're finally back. I've been looking for you for so long. I've searched all over Metro City, and I couldn't find you." He pulled the girl straight into his embrace. A few warm tears fell onto the girl's clothes, making her shiver. But the next instant, he immediately sobered up, realizing something was wrong. Her scent bore no resemblance to Serafina's whatsoever. She was not his Sira. Sebastian Stone forcefully pushed the girl away, pinning her against the table. His large hand tightened, almost choking the girl until her face turned red, her eyes rolled back, and she was on the verge of death. The girl struggled ceaselessly, trying to push away Sebastian's iron grip. "Seb, stop, you're going to kill someone." Several of his friends quickly grabbed Sebastian's hand, stopping his frantic actions. Only then did he gradually come to his senses. He disgustedly withdrew his hand and coldly swept his gaze over everyone present, memorizing who they were. "I seem to have just warned you, yet someone couldn't resist. Since that's the case, then from now on, we are no longer friends. From now on, we will only be rivals, no longer friends. If it weren't for you, perhaps I wouldn't have done anything to wrong Sira." Sebastian Stone mercilessly threw down these words, and the hearts of everyone present turned half cold. Now, in Metro City, the Stone family was dominant. If they offended Sebastian Stone, could they still have a good outcome? The crowd exchanged glances, each more panicked than the last. One man was so angry he slapped himself, wishing he had never done such stupid things. Successively, these men all slapped themselves hard. They were regretting it to the core. If they hadn't said or done anything today, just accompanied Sebastian Stone while he drank his sorrows away, perhaps they wouldn't have ended up like this. If they hadn't egged on Sebastian Stone to find other women initially, perhaps this wouldn't have happened either. Unfortunately, no matter how much they said, there were no ifs. Sebastian Stone, reeking of alcohol, returned to his cold home. Some of the photos Serafina had disposed of still had backups. He printed them out and placed them in their original positions. Some didn't even have backups and were lost forever. Though he had tried hard to return the home to its original state, it was still different from before. Without Serafina Ashton, this home had lost all its vitality. Sebastian Stone stood by the window. Only then did he realize that from this angle, he could see everything in the small garden perfectly. So, on the day she left, she had personally seen him kissing Leela. His heart suddenly ached fiercely. He pressed his palm tightly against his chest, gasping for breath. This pain, however, made him even more clear-headed. "Assistant Carter, any news about Sierra?" "Sorry, Mr. Stone, nothing found." Sebastian Stone hung up the phone. It was the same result. During this time, he had dispatched many people to investigate Serafina Ashton's whereabouts, but she had canceled her identification information. Even when she went to the airport that day, she used a temporary ID. She had also bought several plane tickets simultaneously to different corners of the world. Although the Stone family was large and influential, their overseas influence was always weak. Finding Serafina Ashton was like searching for a needle in a haystack. Her identity information was cancelled, which was equivalent to her disappearing from this world. Then their marriage wouldn't count either. Chapter 19. That divorce agreement was merely the last gift left for Sebastian Stone, a way to completely draw a line between them. The ridiculous thing was, he could only rely on the divorce agreement to Miss Seraphina Ashton. He had the divorce agreement laminated. Only then could it withstand him looking at it several times a day. "Sira, where on earth are you? I truly know I was wrong. I don't ask for your forgiveness, only to see you once. Sira, the people who bullied you have all received their due punishment. Even I am suffering physically and mentally. Won't you come see me, just once?" "Sira!" Sebastian Stone murmured for an unknown length of time before his body couldn't take it anymore, and he fainted. Regarding the families of his former friends, the Stone family didn't have it as easy as imagined either. Once news of Sebastian Stone and Seraphina Ashton's broken marriage spread, countless people exclaimed they no longer believed in love. Many had been their fan couple, and because of their affection, had become loyal customers of Apex Group. When the news of the marital breakdown came out, these people instantly turned against them. The Stone family, Sebastian Stone, and Apex Group became targets of public condemnation. Photos and details of Sebastian Stone's ambiguous relationship with Leela Linton were leaked by insiders. Countless people even felt disgusted that they had once shipped Sebastian Stone and Seraphina Ashton's love. They wanted to kick them while they were down, flocking to Apex Group's official accounts to hurl abuse. Apex Group's stock price plummeted, and even the jewelry named Eternal Summer was despised by people. Eternal Summer, once a symbol of true love, was now devalued to worthlessness. The foreign jewelry collector, upon hearing this news, was so angry he quickly sold it at a low price. He had previously wanted to collect this piece of jewelry after hearing about Sebastian Stone and Seraphina Ashton's fairytale romance. He never expected it to turn out like this. Sebastian Stone bought back Eternal Summer at a low price. Through the dazzling jewelry, he seemed to see Seraphina Ashton's beautiful face again. He remembered, when he first created this piece of jewelry, he poured all his love into it. From material selection to design drafts, he personally completed every step before handing it over to world-class jewelry design masters for polishing and modification. After countless communications, this unparalleled piece of jewelry was finally created. He named it Eternal Summer, precisely meaning his admiration for Seraphina Ashton. He would rather be the nameless one in this love, but why had it become like this now? Sebastian Stone pressed the necklace against his heart, as if feeling the warmth of Seraphina Ashton's body. But the jewelry was cold. Under the care of the jewelry collector, it was perfect to the extreme, but it didn't carry a single trace of Seraphina Ashton's scent. Sebastian Stone was almost desperate. How on earth could he find Seraphina Ashton again? This was an unsolvable problem. Suddenly, he remembered something. He could use the internet no matter where Seraphina Ashton went in the world. As long as she was online, as long as people from her home country were around, they could help provide him with information subsequently. Sebastian Stone posted a missing person notice online. Anyone who provided valid information about Seraphina Ashton's whereabouts after she went abroad would receive a 100,000 reward. Anyone who could provide a recent photo of Seraphina Ashton would receive a 300,000 reward. As soon as the missing person notice was posted, many netizens were still mocking. Sebastian Stone cheated. Apex Group stock must have plummeted, right? And he's still trying to use this method to recoup losses. What a marketing genius. Yeah, all those previous declarations of love for Seraphina Ashton were probably just marketing stunts. Seraphina Ashton is really pitiful. Her husband cheated, and she still has to cooperate with the marketing. If I can really get the money, I'll change my last name to Stone. Chapter 20. Initially, the public was merely mocking. Many people, envious of the reward money, deliberately provided some invalid information and evidence. Later, however, some people genuinely provided some valid information. Seeing that money could really be obtained, many netizens began to help frantically. Even Seraphina Ashton learned of this news. Hordes of people wanted to know her whereabouts, but she didn't feel the slightest bit moved. Instead, she felt a little annoyed. She had already canceled her identity information. Wasn't that enough to show her determination? Serafina Ashton knew she wasn't the type to go back on her decisions, and she had never intended to forgive him from the start. Looking at Sebastian Stone's apologies, she only found them somewhat ridiculous. Since he knew he was wrong, why could he have pretended nothing happened for so long before? Many times, she had even hoped he would tell her plainly that his heart had changed, that he had fallen in love with someone else. That way, they could part amicably. But she never expected his body and heart could be separated. His body enjoyed Leela's love, while his heart repeatedly claimed to love her. Was deceiving her such an entertaining game? Then perhaps she should play a game with him too. Serafina Ashton deliberately provided photos and her whereabouts to a few people, asking them to give them to Sebastian Stone. She sneered, calculating the time, and one step ahead, boarded a plane to a country. On the other side of the ocean, incredibly clear photos reached Sebastian Stone's hands, along with those detailed locations. He was so overjoyed his hands trembled. Sierra is planning to forgive me, right? Is she waiting for me to find her? Immediately, he booked the earliest flight to F country and rushed to the airport. 2 planes took off at the same time, but their routes and destinations were entirely different. Upon arriving in F country, Sebastian Stone felt a sense of nervous anticipation, like returning home after a long absence. He had his assistant check his attire several times, confirmed there were no issues, composed himself, and rushed to Serafina Ashton's guest house. A romantic, gentle sea breeze caressed him, and Sebastian's heart pounded with excitement. He was even more nervous than when he had first confessed his love. Would she forgive him? She definitely would, right? After all, they loved each other so much for so many years. How could it be so easy to give up? Sebastian Stone thought, deceiving himself. He subconsciously ignored Serafina Ashton's resolute actions. Over and over, he told himself that she still loved him. She was just waiting for his apology. As long as he apologized sincerely, everything could pass, and they could go back to how they were before. It definitely could. Sebastian Stone bought a bouquet of sunflowers and arrived at the guest house. The hanging wind chimes made a crisp, tinkling sound, very pleasant to hear. The guest house was decorated very romantically, like a scene from a dream. It was just that he was in no mood to appreciate any of it. If he and Serafina Ashton had come here together, he might have been in the mood to admire it. Knock, knock. Sebastian Stone knocked nervously on the door. Before it even opened, he had already figured out how he would apologize. However, after an unknown amount of time, no one opened the door. Maybe she's sleeping and didn't hear. He muttered to himself, then knocked several more times. Still no response. Chapter 21, the tension in Sebastian Stone's heart grew more pronounced, and cold sweat trickled from his palms. He waited for a long time, but no one came to open the door. His heart was in turmoil, and he instinctively tried to push the door. Unexpectedly, the door was locked tight and wouldn't budge. A small blackboard, ka yuphe, inus, beside it. This may be a remnant of thought process if not translated to English, should be beside it, still read. Closed today. He had initially thought the blackboard meant Serafina was waiting to meet him, so she had specially hung out the closed sign and wasn't accepting guests. He never expected it to signify her refusal to meet him. Only at this moment did Sebastian Stone understand that Serafina Ashton had played him. She never intended to meet him at all. She just wanted to use this method to reject him. Everything was telling him, "Sorry, I don't plan to forgive you." Sebastian Stone stared at the guest house in disbelief. He remembered how, when they were together, they had talked about opening a guest house by the sea, occasionally feeling the sea breeze, just embracing each other's simple happiness. At that time, knowing she liked it, he had people buy several guest houses along the coast in their home country, occasionally taking her there to play. She always smiled happily and was pleasantly surprised by every place. Her words of praise made his heart feel sweet. But since when had they stopped going out together? Sebastian Stone recalled, lost in thought. Since getting together with Leela, the number of times he accompanied Serafina had decreased more and more. They hadn't visited those guest houses even once. Many of the promises he had made to her before were broken. Sebastian Stone felt increasingly remorseful. He hated his past self intensely. He had worked so hard to win Serafina over, knew she lacked security, knew she feared they would end up like her parents, but he still indulged himself. So many temptations had appeared before him in the past, and he had rejected them all. Why couldn't he have continued like that? The current Sebastian Stone wished he could drag his former self out and beat him up. If he had remained true to himself, none of this would have happened. A blonde woman dressed provocatively saw the imposing Sebastian Stone, and her eyes instantly lit up. It had been a long time since she had seen such a handsome and uniquely charismatic man from his country. The blonde woman raised an eyebrow, expertly striking up a conversation. Handsome, interested in a drink. The moment her fair hand landed on Sebastian Stone's shoulder, he dodged it as if it were a venomous snake. Get lost, a thick chill emanated from him, but it didn't deter the blonde woman. Instead, it ignited her desire to conquer. She wanted to press her body against his, to test him with her impressive curves. The next moment, Sebastian Stone disgustedly threw the blonde woman to the ground, without a shred of pity. The force was so great it felt like it would shatter her bones. This time, the blonde woman was truly scared and repeatedly begged for mercy. "I'm sorry, I won't dare again. I'll never dare again." After an unknown period of begging, the woman's voice grew hoarse, and only then did Sebastian Stone belatedly release his grip. "Stop following me." Disgusting, Sebastian Stone felt as if his entire body had been soiled, an extremely uncomfortable sensation. He booked a room at the nearest hotel. Scalding water poured over his body, but he seemed to feel nothing, letting the hot water wash over him. His skin was scalded red, almost as if a layer was about to peel off, yet he continued to scrub his body relentlessly. "Sierra, I'm not dirty. Please don't think I'm dirty, okay? I really know I was wrong. Look, a woman threw herself at me today, and I rejected her without hesitation. Please don't leave me, okay?" Sebastian Stone murmured over and over, almost madly. Chapter 22, the phone on the bed rang incessantly, all messages from netizens sending him photos and whereabouts. Under the deluge of information, Sebastian Stone could barely distinguish what was useful from what wasn't. Too many people, a motley crew, were after the reward money. Even with hired help to screen the information, it was an enormous workload. At this point, he somewhat regretted his initial decision. But what choice did he have besides relying on the power of the vast netizens and Serafina Ashton actively revealing her location? He had almost no way to find her. Sebastian Stone sat on the bed, nearly overcome with despair. Just then, several assistants sent over a few different photos. "Mr. Stone, someone has revealed that Serafina Ashton appeared in front of a church in B City, a country. People have already been sent to look for her. Please head there as soon as possible." Upon receiving this news, Sebastian Stone's confidence was rekindled. Whether it was true or false, he had to try. He couldn't give up this only hope. He could barely endure a single day without Serafina Ashton. She was like the water and oxygen he depended on for survival, indispensable. To have persisted this long was already him struggling desperately. A fish on land always struggles one last time before dying. Sebastian Stone didn't know how many days it had been since he last rested properly. Every day he didn't see Serafina Ashton, he would only sleep for a short hour or two when his body strongly protested, because he was terrified of missing even the slightest news about her. On the plane to a country, he didn't forget to handle domestic work. When the plane landed and he went to get his luggage, he had no idea that Serafina Ashton was boarding a plane at that very airport at that exact moment. By a twist of fate, they missed each other again. Serafina Ashton's plane took off, and Sebastian Stone rushed to the vicinity of the church. He had asked at all the nearby hotels, none had seen Serafina Ashton. After searching for an unknown amount of time, he finally got news of Serafina Ashton at a hotel around a corner. "That beautiful woman from your country already checked out today. You're too late. If you had come just a few hours earlier, you might have seen her," the enthusiastic hotel attendant replied. Sebastian Stone stood there, stunned. He was just a little short on time and luck. Just a few hours and he could have seen her again. Was fate really so cruel? Couldn't it even let him see her once? "Thank you." After expressing his thanks, he left dejected. Wandering in a foreign land, he couldn't find a place to belong. For a moment, he seemed to think back to the time before he met Serafina Ashton. Back then, he had never thought he would love someone this much. He hadn't even thought about getting married, believing he would spend his whole life dedicated to work. However, the moment he met Serafina Ashton, he knew he was done for. The feeling of his heart stirring was unfamiliar to him, and it also gave him his first taste of happiness. When pursuing Serafina Ashton, even a single glance from her could make him happy for a long time. If the Sebastian Stone of that time knew that his future self would treat her like this, he would probably die of anger, right? Chapter 23, Sebastian Stone was filled with extreme remorse. If he had a chance to do it over, he would definitely stay true to his heart. It was just a pity that life had no do-overs. He stood on an unfamiliar street, as helpless as a child. Should he continue searching? That was certain, but where should he start? Hello, the woman in the photo and I are married. She's just angry with me and we got separated. I'm looking for her. Could you please provide me with her contact information? Sebastian Stone asked sincerely. The hotel attendant hesitated for a long time. Only when Sebastian took out a large sum of money did the attendant's face break into a smile, and he quickly handed over Serafina Ashton's contact details. After dialing the number, there was no answer for a long time. She's probably still on the plane, Sebastian Stone comforted himself. To prove his determination to apologize and admit his mistakes to Serafina Ashton, he published a letter of apology online. Word by word, sentence by sentence, he detailed how he had gone wrong step by step. He also wrote about how he came to understand his own heart and realize his mistakes. His attitude of apology was extremely sincere, and he posted new letters of apology almost every day, hoping Serafina Ashton would see them. The attitude of some netizens gradually changed, from initial hatred to sympathy, and some even started speaking up for Sebastian Stone. When Serafina Ashton saw those letters of apology, she only found them somewhat ridiculous. If I hadn't left, would he apologize like this? No, he would probably become even more brazen, from having only Leela to having more women. Cheating is either 0 times or countless times. She asked and answered herself. Why forgive? Isn't it good like this now? She had already achieved the wishes she couldn't achieve before. Opening a guest house by the sea, raising a few pets, occasionally meeting new interesting friends, occasionally doing nothing, just curling up at home, painting the scenery she had seen. After leaving Sebastian Stone, Serafina Ashton found that her health had improved a lot. During hospital checkups, doctors often praised her for taking good care of her body. She closed her eyes, no longer caring about the rumors online. She knew what she wanted. Having finally left, she would never go back to her old life. The plane landed. As soon as Serafina Ashton turned off airplane mode, a familiar phone number appeared on her screen. It was a call from Sebastian Stone. She unhesitatingly hung up and blocked the number. However, that alone wasn't enough. Sebastian Stone was very persistent. If she blocked one number, he would switch to another to call her. His persistence in confessing his love and proposing so many times before was a testament to his perseverance. Countless harassing calls came in. Serafina Ashton felt no sense of being moved or touched whatsoever. Only impatience remained in her heart. His current regret, who was he trying to put on a show for? Before, she had loved his persistence and perseverance, moved by him walking towards her step by step, steadfastly. Now that she no longer loved him, these former merits had all turned into flaws. They would no longer move her. After hanging up countless times, Serafina Ashton, holding back her anger, answered the call. Sebastian Stone, we are completely finished. I don't love you anymore. The resolute words slipped out, blocking all the apologies from the other end of the line. Sebastian Stone fell into a flustered silence, his lips trembling for a long time, momentarily unsure of what to say. Though they were words of rejection, he was so moved he almost cried, because he hadn't heard her voice in so long. Only when he saw the latest photos of her sent by netizens did he feel alive. Now, hearing her voice, he was so emotional he was almost speechless. Chapter 24, after a moment of silence, Sebastian Stone clumsily apologized. Sira, I was wrong, it was my fault. I shouldn't have gotten involved with other women. I've already had Leela abort the child, and I've sent her away. Please forgive me, okay? I'll do anything, just don't leave me, he pleaded pitifully, but Serafina Ashton remained calm throughout. She smiled gently and slowly said, All right, I forgive you. This unexpected answer almost overwhelmed Sebastian Stone. Really? He barely had time to ponder the deeper meaning of Seraphina Ashton's words before he quickly asked, "Ha!" Seraphina Ashton sneered. "Isn't this the answer you wanted? I won't dwell on the past, I forgive you. Are you satisfied now? If you're satisfied, then let's leave it at that." It was just a word of forgiveness. He could hear it as many times as he wanted. But if he wanted to go back to how things were, that was simply impossible. How could a completely shattered mirror be made whole again? Even with glue, it couldn't be restored to its original state. After speaking, Seraphina Ashton decisively hung up the phone, giving Sebastian Stone no chance to continue apologizing. She had said before that if she stopped loving him, even if he committed suicide, it would be useless. Sebastian Stone belatedly remembered this point. "Sierra, I'll buy you your favorite sweet rice cakes. Forgive me, okay?" He persistently sent messages to Seraphina Ashton. Not long after, she replied with one sentence, "I don't like them anymore." How could she not love them anymore? Sebastian Stone's hands trembled. He could barely hold his phone. How could she not love them anymore? He wanted to send another message, only to find he had been blocked again. Having received Seraphina Ashton's verbal forgiveness, Sebastian Stone felt no relief at all. She knew perfectly well that this wasn't what he wanted, but she still said it. She didn't love him anymore. He had truly broken her heart. Sebastian Stone had never realized this so clearly. Perhaps he had realized it the moment Seraphina Ashton left. It was just that he had been deceiving himself all along, pretending not to notice, tricking himself into believing she still loved him, just waiting for his apology. Sebastian Stone's heart felt like it was being torn apart by a knife. He could see no hope for the future. What on earth could he do to win her back? Even he himself didn't know. Meeting her was already a difficult task, let alone begging for her forgiveness. Seraphina Ashton's phone number was called too many times. Fed up, she directly canceled the number and got a new one. Afraid Sebastian Stone would find her again, she flew to D country. The world was so big, finding a person like searching for a needle in a haystack was truly not easy. Just as Sebastian Stone was about to chase after Seraphina Ashton again, suddenly, a problem arose with his company back home. After Leela Linton's child was aborted, she nearly went mad. She was condemned by everyone online, and even in real life, everyone despised her. Whenever Leela Linton appeared, people would cast disdainful glances at her. She couldn't find a job and was almost unable to survive. The bags, jewelry, houses, etc. that Sebastian Stone had given her before were all ruthlessly taken back. The savings in her account couldn't support her accustomed high expenses. She was truly at her wit's end. Thus, Leela Linton made a bold decision. She reported Sebastian Stone by name for tax evasion and embezzlement of public funds. She then joined forces with several families that the Stone family had suppressed to target the Stone family together. Chapter 25. Sebastian Stone, in order to avenge Seraphina Ashton, had unscrupulously suppressed the families of several good brothers who had spoken ill of her. Now that they finally had leverage against him, how could they not fight back? Leela Linton didn't care about being used as a pawn. As long as she could get revenge, she didn't care about anything else. She wasn't living well, so why should Sebastian Stone live well? Merely reporting him wasn't enough. She also started a new account, live streaming her tragic story and exposing details, recounting everything that had happened between her and Sebastian Stone to the netizens. In an instant, Apex Group, whose reputation had just begun to improve, suffered another collapse in public opinion. Even Sebastian Stone's image was damaged again and again. He was forced to return to the country to face investigation, temporarily putting his pursuit of Seraphina Ashton on hold. Things back home were a mess. Several traitors also emerged within the company. For a time, Apex Group's situation went from bad to worse. Many companies were waiting to get a piece of the pie from Sebastian Stone. Even if Apex Group survived this time, it would lose a layer of skin. Such a behemoth, even if only a little leaked from between its fingernails, was enough for some companies to grow stronger. Many people were watching covetously. Sebastian Stone faced internal and external troubles, not sleeping well for 3 consecutive months. Leela was sent to jail by him under the charge of slander. After a long investigation, it was found that Apex Group indeed had financial loopholes. After a fine of $70 million, the matter was considered closed. However, Apex Group lost a lot of personnel and many collaborations during the investigation, suffering a great blow to its vitality. Elder Alastair Stone had long since stopped managing affairs and had retired to the mountains. This time, he was also drawn out by this incident. Looking at his grandson, who had become as thin as a stick, Elder Stone sighed repeatedly. After the company's situation slightly improved, Elder Stone called Sebastian Stone back. Thump, the cane struck the ground, making a dull sound. Kneel. Sebastian Stone knelt on the ground, his face pale, his figure gaunt. Sebastian, is this how I taught you? I warned you countless times to stay true to your heart, that a man who loves his wife prospers. How did you promise me before? And what are you doing now? Elder Stone's chest heaved with anger, he could barely breathe, and his cane struck the ground several times in succession. Sebastian Stone lowered his gaze slightly, his voice hoarse as he spoke. I was wrong. It was me. I let Sierra down. Seeing this, Elder Stone shook his head repeatedly. Men, bring the family discipline. The butler brought the family cane. The shiny black rod, covered in sharp thorns, could draw blood and tear flesh with just one strike. The butler, holding the cane, swung it forcefully. Sebastian Stone let out a muffled groan, and blood instantly flowed. He gritted his teeth, persisting, but couldn't overcome his body's weakness. He only endured one strike before swaying and fainting. It's worth noting that when Sebastian Stone was a teenager and did something wrong, he endured over a dozen strokes of the family cane and survived. Elder Stone also panicked instantly, quickly calling for the private doctor to attend to him. After receiving medication, Sebastian Stone finally had a good night's sleep. In a daze, he seemed to have returned to the past. To the day Serafina Ashton agreed to his proposal. He was dressed impeccably, his heart full of joy as he confessed his love to her. Sierra, marry me, please. I will always be good to you. In this lifetime, I will only love you. His hand clutched the meticulously designed ring, trembling incessantly, his heart pounding wildly with nervousness. Sebastian Stone's lips unconsciously curved upwards. He knew she would agree. However, the next second, Serafina Ashton unhesitatingly turned away. Chapter 26. Sorry, I don't want to marry you. Let's break up, I don't love you anymore. In the dream, Serafina Ashton pulled her hand away and walked further and further away. Sierra, no, you can't do this. I'll be very good to you. You like the sweet rice cakes from the east side. I can buy them for you every day. Jewelry, accessories, property, shares, whatever I can give you, I'll give it all to you. Stay by my side, please. Sebastian Stone pleaded pitifully. But Serafina Ashton's figure never looked back, not even for a single glance. He desperately chased after her, only to grasp at air. Even the 2 engagement rings in his hand had disappeared. Sierra didn't want him anymore, didn't want his love, didn't want anything. Sierra. Sierra. Sebastian Stone's eyelids were tightly shut, fine beads of cold sweat appearing on his pale face. He had bitten his lips until bright red blood oozed out. He had murmured Serafina Ashton's name countless times. A touch of worry tinged Elder Alastair Stone's clouded eyes. He sighed deeply. After several days of searching, his assistant finally found Serafina Ashton's latest contact information. Hello, Miss Ashton. It's me, Sebastian Stone's grandfather. You met me at your wedding. Serafina Ashton, having just attended to a guest, was quite bewildered upon receiving this call. Grandfather Stone, what can I do for you? If it's to persuade me to reconcile with Sebastian, then there's no need to talk. She hadn't been bothered by Sebastian for some time and thought he had given up. She never expected him to try a different method, even involving Elder Stone. She gave a sarcastic tug at her lips. Elder Stone's voice was somewhat weak, but he still tried. Miss Ashton, I know that boy Sebastian wronged you before, but now he's sick. I'm not asking you to forgive him, just to come back and see him once, just to completely put his mind at rest. Don't worry, I won't let him pester you anymore. Consider it a request from this old man. Serafina Ashton on the other end of the line was silent for a long time. Finally, she answered firmly, Sorry, I'm doing very well now and don't plan to go back. Once I go back, can I still leave? I don't know. The Stone family is powerful and influential. I'm just an ordinary person. Just let me go. He could fall in love with Leela, so naturally, he could be moved by others too. I won't be the only one, and no one will be the only one in his heart. It's just an obsession. He can't bear to part with me. As long as enough time passes, I believe he will forget me." With things said to this extent, Elder Stone could no longer insist. He had begged, he had persuaded. Sebastian himself was a disappointment, had made mistakes, and should bear the consequences. "Since that's the case, I won't try to persuade you anymore. If you still have some lingering affection for him, then come back and see him. If not, then let's just pretend we didn't speak on the phone today." Elder Stone said helplessly. Seraphina Ashton was very grateful. "Thank you, Grandfather Stone." After hanging up, Elder Stone also sent a video, which was of Sebastian Stone unconscious. Seraphina Ashton watched it, somewhat surprised. She never thought that in just a few short months, he would reduce himself to such a wretched state, neither human nor ghost. However, this had nothing to do with her anymore. There wasn't a trace of pity left in her heart. All her love had long been buried in her home country. Therefore, she did not plan to return. Sebastian Stone would have many people to take care of him, and Elder Stone was there too. He didn't lack her visit. It was better not to disturb him, or it would only cause more trouble. Chapter 27, Sira. Sebastian Stone woke with a start, Seraphina Ashton's name still on his lips. Elder Alastair Stone, his face dark, kept watch by the bedside. "Sebastian Stone, from today onwards, focus on your work, take care of your health, and you are forbidden to look for Seraphina Ashton again. Cough, cough." Sebastian coughed violently in confusion, his voice hoarse. "Why? She's my wife. I didn't sign the divorce papers, so we're not divorced. As long as I'm persistent, as long as I'm sincere, she'll forgive me sooner or later. She's actually very soft-hearted. If I just coax her a little more, she'll forgive me." "Silence," Elder Stone interrupted him. Then he took out the recording of his call with Seraphina Ashton and played it by his ear. The clear voice echoed throughout the room, completely shattering all of Sebastian Stone's confidence. Even after the recording finished playing, the room remained deathly silent. After a long while, he kept murmuring, "Impossible, impossible. This is fake. I need to find Sira. I need to see her. I need to tell her she is my only one. I've only ever loved her in my entire life." Sebastian Stone, regardless of everything, got out of bed, pulled out the IV needle from his hand, and dragged his weak body outwards. Elder Stone didn't stop him. Sure enough, he had only taken a few steps before he collapsed weakly to the ground. The wounds on his back, which had just begun to heal, tore open again, blooming with blood. Sebastian Stone gritted his teeth, his eyes wide and bloodshot, forcibly propping himself up and walking forward. This time, again, he didn't make it more than a few steps before fainting once more. Elder Stone shook his head. "You few, carry him to the bed, watch him closely, make sure he recuperates properly. Don't let him out." After speaking, he quickly took a few pills. Elder Stone's health wasn't good either. His seclusion in the mountains was also for recuperation. He just didn't expect that at his age, he would still have to come out and deal with these trivial matters. He lay down in the adjacent hospital room, letting the doctors and nurses examine him. 3 days later, Sebastian Stone's condition finally improved, and he tried to escape again. But he didn't get far before Elder Stone's men caught him again. Sebastian let it go. Elder Stone, wearing a hospital gown, his face much grayer. Seeing this, Sebastian also fell silent, standing where he was, no longer trying to run. "Sebastian, Grandfather can't hold on much longer either. I don't know how much longer I can accompany you. Consider it Grandfather's dying wish, don't look for Seraphina Ashton anymore. Let her go, and let yourself go too." Hearing this, Sebastian Stone's eyes drooped, his expression unreadable. After a long while, he almost managed to eke out an answer. "All right, I won't look for her anymore." After receiving this answer, Elder Stone seemed to have resolved a major obsession, and his body suddenly slumped. Sebastian Stone kept watch by the hospital bed, promising, "Grandfather, I will take good care of the family business from now on, and never see Seraphina Ashton again." After spending this last period with Elder Alastair Stone, Sebastian Stone's aura became even colder. When Seraphina Ashton was still around, he wasn't so serious and would even occasionally smile. But now, he almost constantly exuded a freezing chill. Sebastian Stone was like a working machine. Apart from going to the hospital for checkups, he practically lived at the company. Under his leadership, the company flourished. The love story that countless people once envied gradually became little known. Only Sebastian Stone always wore that wedding ring. If anyone asked, he would smile happily and say, "I'm already married. We love each other very much. She's waiting for me at home. I need to go home early." However, he rarely returned to that cold home. Without Seraphina Ashton, home was no different from any other place. Some insiders thought he had gone mad. Those who didn't know thought he was a truly good family man. Many women tried to throw themselves at him to seduce him, but he rejected them all. To silence everyone, he adopted a talented boy and meticulously mentored him by his side. 20 years later, that boy had grown into a man capable of standing on his own. Sebastian Stone then entrusted the company to him and went alone to F country. When he arrived outside Seraphina Ashton's guest house, he thought, "Grandfather, I have followed your dying wish and haven't seen her for a full 20 years. I also want to fulfill my own last wish." Sebastian Stone heard the familiar sound of wind chimes. This time, the guest house door was open and the small blackboard beside it read, "Open for business, welcome." Knock, knock. He knocked on the door. "Excuse me, are there any vacant rooms?" A young, mixed-race girl in the guest house called out to the inner room, "Mom, someone wants to check in." As soon as Seraphina Ashton walked out, Sebastian Stone, standing outside the door, fled in disarray. He no longer had the courage to appear before her. She already had a new family, a new life, and no longer belonged to him. Sebastian Stone bought a shop not far from the guest house and opened a post office, specifically for sending letters to his past self. Even though he knew the recipient wouldn't receive them, people still occasionally came to write letters. He wrote a letter to his past self with only a few simple words: "Be a little kinder to Seraphina Ashton." Though their two establishments were only 2 streets apart, they never once met. Even when the later Sebastian Stone learned that the mixed-race girl, Alara, was adopted by Seraphina Ashton, he never went to see her again. He only secretly glanced at her a few times, learning news about her from others.